Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. You wanted to know more about natural remedies for seasonal allergies,
Mm-hmm.
and you were particularly curious about honey. So that's what we're diving into today. We've gathered a bunch of different sources for this one. We've got some medical sites,
Okay.
like the Mayo Clinic and the MSD manual, and we've found some advice from Arabic sources.
Interesting.
Yeah, and even a news article with a bunch of home remedies,
Okay.
plus some YouTube videos about honey and its properties.
Sounds like we've got a lot to cover.
We do. It's going to be a good one, so let's get started.
Awesome.
Before we get to the honey, though, I think it's important to make sure we're all on the same page about what seasonal allergies actually are.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, some people call them hay fever,
Right.
but technically they're known as allergic rhinitis.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, your immune system is overreacting
Yeah.
to things that are normally harmless, like pollen.
Right. And it's not just pollen from flowers either. We're talking trees, grasses, weeds, even mold spores can set off those classic allergy symptoms.
Oh, tell me about it. The sneezing, the runny nose, the itchy eye.
Yeah, you get those too.
Oh my gosh, so bad. Sometimes I feel like I can barely see.
I hear you.
I go through so many eye drops during allergy season. It's ridiculous.
It's the worst. Do you find that certain times of year are worse for me?
Oh, definitely, for sure. It seems like spring is the worst for me, but I know it depends on where you live and what's blooming or relieving pollen at different times.
Exactly. And you might notice that pollen counts tend to be higher in the mornings too.
Really?
Yeah. Ever wake up with a stuffy nose even though you were totally fine when you went to bed?
Uh-huh. All the time.
That could be why.
Huh. Makes sense. So before we go any further, you specifically asked about honey as a potential allergy remedy.
Right.
And one thing I did want to mention is that all of our sources seem to agree that honey is generally safe for most people.
Okay.
But there's one huge exception.
Okay.
Never, ever give honey to infants.
Absolutely. Honey can contain spores that cause infant botulism,
Oh, wow.
which is a very serious illness.
So yeah, definitely err on the side of caution when it comes to babies and honey.
For sure.
Okay, good to know. So for everyone else who can safely enjoy honey,
Mm-hmm.
what does the research say about it helping with allergies?
Well, that's where things get a little bit tricky.
Okay,
While honey has been used for all sorts of medicinal purposes for centuries,
right.
the scientific evidence specifically for allergy relief is still pretty limited.
So all those claims about honey being a natural allergy cure
Yeah.
might be a bit overblown then.
It's not quite that simple. I mean, some of honey's properties might indirectly help with allergy symptoms.
Okay, how so?
For example, the Mayo Clinic mentions its antioxidant properties,
Yeah.
its ability to soothe coughs,
Right.
and even its potential for wound healing, particularly for burns.
Interesting.
So it definitely has some healing potential,
Okay.
but more research is needed to say for sure how it works for allergies.
Okay, I see. Now there was one thing I was super curious about.
Yeah, what's that?
We came across an Arabic source that recommended applying honey near the eyelid 5 times a day.
5 times a day?
Yeah, for allergy-related eye symptoms.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
Me neither. It really made me wonder,
Yeah.
how did that even come about?
Right.
Have you ever heard of anything like that?
I haven't. And it's important to note that we haven't found any scientific studies to back up this specific use of honey.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely an unconventional approach.
Yeah.
And it really highlights how we need to be cautious about any home remedies, even those involving natural ingredients.
So if someone's considering trying this honey eye treatment, they should definitely talk to their doctor first.
Absolutely. Always best to err on the side of caution, especially when it comes to something as delicate as your eyes.
True, true. Plus, a doctor can help assess if there are any potential interactions with other medications or underlying health conditions.
Exactly.
Good point. Speaking of other things to consider,
Mm-hmm.
our deep dive also uncovered a lot of information about more conventional treatments for allergies.
Right.
I'm thinking of things like nasal sprays and medications. I know you've got a lot of experience with those.
I do.
So what are some of the go-to options that doctors often recommend?
Well, one of the first lines of defense is often nasal corticosteroid sprays.
Okay.
These help reduce inflammation in the nasal passages, which is where a lot of those pesky allergy symptoms originate.
Makes sense. What about those antihistamines
Oh,
that
yeah.
are advertised everywhere during allergy shoots?
Uh-huh.
Do they actually work?
Antihistamines can definitely provide relief for some people. They work by blocking histamine, which
Okay.
is a chemical your body releases during an allergic reaction.
Oh, I see.
You can find them in pill form or as nasal sprays.
So they're basically stopping the allergic reaction in its tracks.
In a way, yes. They're preventing histamine from binding to receptors in your cells,
Okay.
which helps reduce symptoms like sneezing, itching, and runny nose.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. I've also heard that some people need to combine antihistamines with decongestants.
Yeah.
Is that common?
Sometimes, especially if you're experiencing a lot of congestion, decongestants help shrink swollen blood vessels in the nasal passages, which can make it easier to breathe.
Gotcha. But I've also heard that decongestants can raise blood pressure.
That's true.
So probably not a good idea for people with high blood pressure or any other cardiovascular issue.
Exactly. It's best to avoid them in those cases.
So always talk to your doctor first.
Always a good idea.
Right. What about those other medications I saw mentioned in the MSD manual, like cromolyn sodium, acetylcysteine ipratropium, and montelukast?
Yeah, those are all options too.
Those sound pretty intense.
They do, but they're all targeting different aspects of the allergic response.
Okay.
Cromolyn sodium, for instance, works by stabilizing mast cells.
Mast cells.
Yeah. These cells release histamine and other inflammatory chemicals during an allergic reaction.
Oh, okay.
So cromolyn sodium is like calming down the troops before they can go haywire.
I like that analogy. What about those other medications you mentioned?
Sure. So acetylcysteine is actually a combination antihistamine and mast cell stabilizer.
Oh, wow.
It's like a two-pronged attack on those allergy symptoms.
Okay.
Apratropium, on the other hand, helps dry up a runny nose.
Makes sense.
And montelukast is a leukotriene inhibitor.
A what inhibitor?
A leukotriene inhibitor, which means it blocks the action of leukotrienes.
Okay, now I definitely need a little more explanation on this one. What are leukotrienes?
So leukotrienes are another type of chemical involved in the inflammatory response.
Gotcha.
They contribute to symptoms like airway narrowing and mucus production.
Okay.
So by blocking leukotrienes, montelukast can help improve breathing and reduce congestion.
Wow. It's amazing how many different ways there are to tackle allergies.
It really is.
But I'm still really curious about those eye drops you mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah.
What are those all about?
Those are specifically designed to relieve those itchy, watery eyes that can be so bothersome during allergy season.
Right.
They usually contain antihistamines, vasoconstrictors, or cromolyn.
Vasoconstrictors. What do those do? Is that like a decongestant, but for your eyes?
That's a good way to think about it. Vasoconstrictors work by narrowing blood vessels,
Okay.
which reduces redness and swelling in the eyes.
So they can provide quick relief from that bloodshot, itchy feel.
Exactly.
That's super helpful. And then there's immunotherapy or allergy shots, right? I know those are for people with really severe allergies.
Right.
How do those work? And are they like a long-term solution?
Immunotherapy is a long-term approach that involves getting injections of gradually increasing doses of the allergen you're sensitive to.
Okay.
The idea is to slowly desensitize your immune system over time so it no longer overreacts when exposed to the allergen.
So it's like training your body to chill out when it encounters pollen or whatever's triggering your allergy.
Exactly. It's a commitment, though, as it usually involves regular injections for several years.
Wow.
But for some people, it can be a game changer, providing lasting relief from their allergies.
That's incredible. We've covered a lot of ground already. From understanding what causes allergies to exploring all sorts of remedies, both natural and conventional.
Right.
But we're not done yet. There's still more to uncover.
Definitely.
Especially about those Arabic sources and honey's potential.
For sure. Stay tuned, because in part 2, we'll dive deeper into those fascinating sources and unpack the honey eye treatment in more detail.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, we'll explore those lifestyle changes that can make a big difference in managing your allergies.
Don't miss it. Welcome back to our deep dive, everyone. So last time we were talking about all sorts of different ways to manage allergies.
We were.
We explored a bunch of medical treatments, and we even touched on that interesting honey eye remedy. I'm still kind of curious about that one.
Me too. It's definitely one of the more unique remedies we found in our research.
For sure. Applying honey near your eye 5 times a day.
I know, right?
Just seems wild.
It really makes you wonder how that practice even came about.
Yeah, totally. I mean, thinking back to what we talked about with honey's potential benefits.
Right.
The Mayo Clinic mentioned antioxidants and its soothing properties, but using it near your eye just seems like a whole other thing.
It does, and it's important to remember that this particular remedy comes from traditional Arabic sources.
Right.
It's a great example of how different cultures have used honey for medicinal purposes for centuries.
So even though we haven't found any specific scientific studies to back up this particular use of honey, it's been passed down through generations, presumably because people found it helpful.
That's a possibility. Of course, it's also possible that its effectiveness was overstated.
Yeah.
Or maybe it worked for some people but not others.
Makes sense.
That's the challenge with traditional remedies. They often lack the rigorous testing that modern medicine relies on.
That's true. So for our listener, I think the takeaway here is that if they're considering trying this honey eye remedy, they should talk to their doctor first, right?
Absolutely. Plus, a doctor can consider any individual factors that might make the remedy unsuitable, like pre-existing eye conditions.
Right.
Or allergies to honey itself.
Oh, yeah. Good point. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
Definitely. Especially when it comes to our eyes.
Couldn't agree more. Speaking of other ways to manage allergies, the Al Jazeera article we found had some interesting suggestions for lifestyle changes.
It did.
That could make a real difference.
Yes. It emphasized that managing allergies isn't just about avoiding triggers.
Right.
It's also about supporting your overall health.
Okay.
So your body can better handle those allergy attacks.
I like that approach. It's about building up your defenses from the inside out.
Exactly.
So what kind of lifestyle changes are we talking about?
Well, for starters, stay hydrated is crucial.
Okay.
Did you know that when you're dehydrated, your body actually produces more histamine?
No way. Really? So basically, not drinking enough water could make my allergy symptoms worse.
That's right. Histamine is that pesky chemical that triggers those familiar allergy symptoms.
Right.
The sneezing, the itching, the watery eyes.
Ugh.
So staying hydrated is one of the simplest yet most effective ways to keep histamine levels in check.
Okay, I'm definitely going to make a conscious effort to drink more water,
Good.
especially during allergy season. What else does the article recommend?
They also highlighted the importance of eating a diet rich in antioxidants.
Okay.
Think colorful fruits and vegetables, ginger, turmeric, green tea.
That sounds delicious. But how do antioxidants help with allergies?
Antioxidants help protect your cells from damage caused by free radicals.
Free radicals.
Yeah, these free radicals can contribute to inflammation throughout the body,
Okay.
which can worsen an allergy symptoms.
It's like fighting inflammation at two fronts, reducing exposure to allergens.
Right.
And boosting your body's ability to cope with the inflammation they cause.
Exactly. And there's another powerful antioxidant we should mention, quercetin.
Quercetin, what's that?
Quercetin is a natural compound found in foods like apples, onions, berries, and you guessed it, green tea.
Huh.
What makes it so special is that it acts like a natural antihistamine.
Oh, wow.
So by incorporating quercetin-rich foods into your diet, you're essentially giving your body an extra tool to fight those allergy symptoms.
That's fascinating. It's like nature's own allergy medicine.
It is. The article also mentioned probiotics.
Oh, yeah. Probiotics, are those helpful for allergies, too?
There's growing evidence that gut health plays a role in immune function.
Okay.
And probiotics, which are beneficial bacteria that live in your gut,
Right.
can help promote a healthy gut microbiome.
So a healthy gut could translate to a stronger immune system
Potentially, yeah.
and potentially better allergy management.
That's the idea. It's still an area of ongoing research, but there's definitely a connection between gut health and overall well-being,
Right.
including immune response.
This is all so interesting. It seems like making these lifestyle changes could make a real difference in managing allergies.
They certainly can. And the best part is they're not just good for allergy relief.
Yeah,
They're beneficial for your overall health. It's a win-win.
totally. It's like taking a proactive approach to your health
Exactly.
rather than just reacting to symptoms when they flare up.
I agree. But let's be real. Sometimes allergies hit you hard and fast,
Oh, yeah,
and you need immediate relief.
for sure.
That's where those conventional medical treatments we talked about in the first part come in.
Right, right. Do you see a way to combine both approaches?
Absolutely. I think a holistic approach that combines conventional treatments with these long-term lifestyle changes can be very effective.
Okay.
It's about addressing both the immediate symptoms and the underlying causes.
It's about finding what works best for you.
Exactly. But remember, it's always best to talk to your doctor before making any major changes to your treatment plan.
Right.
They can help you navigate all the options and create a strategy that's safe and effective for you.
Okay, so we've talked about honey's potential traditional remedies, lifestyle changes, and even conventional medical treatments.
Right.
Is there anything else we should consider when it comes to managing allergies?
Well, we did find some intriguing information in those YouTube videos
Oh, yeah?
about honey's properties,
Oh.
including some potential downsides.
Oh, yeah. I remember you mentioning that one of the videos talked about how honey's sugar content might affect the pancreas.
Right.
That's something I hadn't really thought about before.
It's a good point. Honey, while natural, is still a type of sugar.
Okay.
Consuming too much sugar, regardless of the source, can put a strain on the pancreas,
Okay.
which is responsible for producing insulin to regulate blood sugar levels.
So even though honey might have some potential benefits for allergies, we still need to be mindful of how much we're consuming.
Exactly. Moderation is key.
Right.
And if someone has a condition like pre-diabetes or diabetes, it's especially important to talk to their doctor about how honey might fit into their diet.
That makes sense. What else did those YouTube videos cover?
One of them focused on the amazing versatility of honey.
Oh, yeah.
It talked about how it's been used for centuries for all sorts of things.
Okay.
From wound healing to soothing sore throats to even treating certain skin conditions.
Wow. It's like honey is a miracle cure-all.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it is fascinating how honey's traditional uses are now being backed up by modern science.
That's true.
We know that honey has antimicrobial properties,
Right.
which means it can help fight off bacteria and other microorganisms. That's why it's sometimes used to treat wounds and skin infections.
So while the research on honey and allergies specifically is still somewhat limited, There's definitely a lot of potential there.
Absolutely. And it's exciting to see how traditional wisdom is being validated by scientific research.
I'm thinking back to that honey eye treatment.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any scientific basis for its potential effectiveness.
That's a great question, and it's one that researchers are starting to explore. Some studies are looking into the potential benefits of honey for eye health,
Interesting.
but it's still early days.
So maybe one day we'll have more conclusive evidence about honey's role in allergy relief, including whether that eye treatment actually works.
I hope so. It's a reminder that there's always more to learn and discover even about something as seemingly simple as honey.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the science of allergies to a whole range of potential remedies.
We've explored honey's potential benefits, delved into traditional remedies and lifestyle changes, and even discussed conventional medical treatments.
But the key takeaway is that there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
It's about finding what works best for you, right?
Absolutely. And remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about your allergies and the different approaches to managing them, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions about your health.
Couldn't agree more. So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
where we'll wrap things up and leave you with some final thoughts to consider.
See you there.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into seasonal allergies and the quest for relief.
Uh-huh.
We've covered so much ground already, right?
We have. It's been quite a journey.
From understanding how those pesky allergies work to exploring all sorts of remedies, from natural options to conventional treatments. And through it all, one thing really stands out to me. There's no magic bullet, no one-size-fits-all solution, right?
Right. It's about finding what works best for you.
It really underscores the need for a personalized approach to allergy management. And that starts with you, right?
Yeah.
Understanding your own body, what triggers your allergies, and the different options out there to help you feel better.
I agree.
Now, remember those YouTube videos we talked about?
Yeah.
One of them delved into the potential downsides of honey, focusing on its sugar content.
Right. And how that sugar might affect the pancreas.
That's something I hadn't really considered before.
It's a valid point. We often think of honey as this natural, healthy sweetener, but at the end of the day, it is a type of sugar.
That's true.
And consuming too much sugar, no matter the source, can have those negative health impacts.
So even though honey might offer some benefits for allergy sufferers, we still need to be mindful of how much we're consuming, especially if we're using it daily as a remedy.
Exactly.
It's all about balance, right?
Absolutely. Moderation is key.
Especially for individuals dealing with conditions like prediabetes or diabetes, it's crucial for them to consult with their doctor about how honey fits into their overall diet plan.
I couldn't agree more.
That makes perfect sense. It reminds me of how we emphasize talking to a doctor before trying that honey eye treatment, too.
Yeah.
Even those natural remedies can have unintended side effects or interact with medications.
Exactly.
Always better to be safe than sorry.
Especially with something as delicate as our eyes.
Couldn't agree more. Now, the other YouTube video highlighted honey's amazing versatility and all the different ways it's been used throughout history.
It really is fascinating.
It's like honey is a jack of all trades when it comes to potential healing properties.
It makes you wonder if maybe those traditional uses passed down through generations hold some truth that science is just beginning to uncover.
That's what I find so exciting about this intersection of traditional wisdom and modern science.
Me too.
We're seeing more and more research that's actually validating some of those long-held beliefs about honey.
Absolutely.
For example, we know that honey has those antimicrobial properties.
Right.
It can help fight off bacteria and other microorganisms.
Which is why it's sometimes used to treat wounds and skin infections.
Exactly. And there's even some research suggesting honey might be effective in treating coughs, especially in children.
I've heard about that.
Of course, more research is needed.
Always.
But it's definitely promising. Makes me think back to that honey eye treatment again.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any scientific basis for its potential effectiveness.
Well, some researchers are beginning to explore that very question.
Really?
There are a few preliminary studies looking into honey and eye health, but it's still early.
So more research is needed to determine if honey can truly help with conditions like dry eye or those itchy eyes from allergies.
Definitely.
I guess we'll have to wait and see what future research reveals.
Exactly. But it's a reminder that there's always more to learn and discover.
Always. So we've really delved deep into the world of seasonal allergies and the quest for relief, exploring everything from the science to different remedies and a range of perspectives.
We have.
And I think one of the most important takeaways is that knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
The more you know about your allergies, the better equipped you'll be to find what works for you.
And don't forget to consult your doctor. They can offer personalized guidance and support based on your unique needs.
Couldn't agree more. It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
Likewise.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it informative, and empowering.
Take care. 23-2.